Hi guys, welcome back to Inside Pro Cycling TV. And today is a rather special day for me in particular. You know, this is something that I've been wanting to do for about 4 years. I've been watching this product that we're going to talk about for 4 years in a one-dimensional way, which means I've been looking at their website. And today is a treat for me to have John Hammond, and we're going to be talking about iBike. iBike is a revolutionary product for measuring power. And one of the things that makes it revolutionary, well, actually two things, is that it's very accurate, and number two is at a price point that you just won't believe. So, John, thank you very much for...
Thank you. It's nice being with you.
Actually, thanks for allowing us an opportunity to do this, because I'm going to be just Joe Consumer, you know. I mean,
okay.
And I'm going to ask you questions just like, because that's what I am. In other words, I don't come here with any agenda other than to find out about your product.
Okay.
And, you know, to let our audience find out about the product.
There's a lot of curiosity, so I'm looking forward to your questions.
I think that it's something revolutionary that you can do power measuring with, you know, for under $300. I mean, when you're looking at things for $4,000 or $5,000, $3,000 out there. And yet people are more and more prone to train with power because, you know, it is definitely the most accurate way to do it. But before we actually get into that, can you give me a little bit of an idea of how you came about with this idea? What, you know, what's your background? I mean, I don't know. It just sounds like a great, interesting project that you got yourself into here.
Well, I was trained as an engineer, and I started it as an engineer at General Electric, but soon moved into marketing and general management, things like that.
Okay.
And then I became a venture capitalist for a while. Then I ran startup companies. Then I did turnarounds. Then I always kind of went between big companies and small companies. And in fact, 10 years ago, I was down here in Florida working at Sunbeam. Then moved to Dallas to run a public company. And after doing that, I retired for 3 months.
You retired to work 10 hours a day?
No, well, believe me, my definition of an entrepreneur is someone who is dumb enough not to know what the word means. And I definitely did not know, because what happened is that I had met someone, brilliant engineer, and we liked music, photography, and cycling.
Okay.
And one day we got together and we said, what are some cool things we could do? And we wrote down, I don't know, 35, 40 product ideas. And
a bucket list.
A bucket list. And this one looked like it was the most interesting. And in fact, its motivation was that on the one hand, we thought power was a really important and useful thing to have if you enjoy cycling at all. And on the other hand, the prospect of spending $3,000 to have one of these gizmos on your bike was just stomach wrenching.
Right.
So we had this idea, and as the conventional wisdom, okay, is that the only way you can measure power is by how hard are you pushing on the pedals. That's why there are strain gauges, that's why there are special hubs, wheels, cranks, bottom brackets, chain magnets, all that stuff.
Right.
And we said, well, hang on. If you're riding a bicycle and you're putting force on the pedal, why is that? And the answer is because the wind is blowing in your face and it's slowing you down. You're climbing a hill and that's slowing down. You're picking up speed and that takes effort.
Well, you're creating your own resistance.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
You travel.
In other words, those things are opposing forces. Whereas everybody else measures applied forces with strain gauges and so on, we said, why not measure opposing forces? And so, and in fact, it did have some benefit to be paying attention in high school, because that's where you learn about Newton's third law, that applied and opposing forces are always equal. So what we did is we said, okay, we're going to measure the wind, we're going to measure bike acceleration, we're going to measure hill slope, we're going to even measure frictional resistance.
And that whole computation takes place
inside the computer, yeah.
Well,
and so
let me see one of those things.
Here is the original product. This is the iBike, and it has a little sensor on front that actually measures opposing wind the same way they're measured in airplanes. It has a device called an accelerometer that measures hill slope and bike acceleration, the same device that works like in a Nintendo Wii or even the thing that triggers airbags.
Right.
This has a very sophisticated microcomputer inside. We measure the opposing forces, we add them up, and they equal the applied force. So
Wow.
we get
I mean, we're talking about a tiny little thing.
2 ounces.
2 ounces.
It's 2 ounces.
So it's about what just about any computer weighs.
Right.
In the neighborhood of.
Right. Yes.
This sits on your stem.
It sits on your stem or your handlebar.
Okay.
And the first question a lot of people ask is when they see it, they go, well, where's the special hub? Or the crank doesn't look any different. And that's exactly right, because there is no special hub, wheel, or crank. That's it. That's the whole thing.
And you can change it from one bike to
You
another.
just move it from bike to bike. You set it up and move it back and forth. And that's what we started with, started shipping in 2006. And
Well, this is very unique.
this is the original product. And I have to say, like any original product and any startup, you know, we put it out there and immediately, well, 2 things happen. Number one, all the naysayers, all the guys who have invested thousands of dollars, they say it's not possible. It can't work. I mean, I remember looking at websites where there were scholarly and learned dissertations from PhDs saying this cannot work. And we're going, well, sure as hell works for us, you know.
That's part of the challenge.
And, well, you know,
when
it's
you get stuff like that kind
Right.
of motivates you
right.
more.
In fact, even before then, when we had this idea, we went to Interbike in 2004. Never been to Interbike before, and I love cycling. I've been cycling for years and years. We walk around the show, and it was like a kid in the candy shop. And just going through all of these amazing booths and seeing, you know, the Cervelo bikes and Shimano and all this stuff that I'd only seen in little tiny bike stores. But we walked the entire show. And at the end, we walked out and we said, good God Almighty, nobody's figured it out. Nobody's figured out that you can measure opposing forces instead of applied forces. That's when we started the company, because I told you about my original training at GE. At GE, they teach you sustainable competitive advantage. And we had 2. Number one, we have a cost advantage, because our sensors are produced for aeromotive and automotive applications by the millions. They're extremely reliable. We do not have a machine shop. We don't have to cut holes and hubs for, you know, different numbers of sprockets. I don't have to make cranks. We have a real cost advantage. Number 2, we filed for patents. They were granted. And you know, patents are also a sustainable competitive advantage. And then one other lucky thing happened, and it's kind of amusing because it comes right up to the present, which is I've always been a bit of an Apple guy. And when we started the company, we said, what would be a really good name for this product? And we thought, iBike. You know, the iPod was getting kind of popular. And so we did that. We got the name. It's a registered trademark. And today, what's happening is that people, there was an announcement about Apple a few weeks ago. They were doing something related to bicycles. And journalists would say, Apple invents the iBike. And I would write the article back to the journalist and say, no, we invented the iBike. So we started this and shipped our first products and got a lot of good comments, but we also got some feedback saying, hey, this needs to be better, that needs to be better. And again, from the training I had in my big business career and also working in small companies, you got to listen to your customers.
I understand, because like I said, I've been going through your website and I see the comments that people make, and it seems like you guys react really fast, and you have, the product has evolved. I mean, it's a dynamic product from what I see. You know, you're making improvements all the time, and there's new firmware, and then you make that available free of charge, from what I've also gathered.
Right.
But you know, what I like to do is I like to split the interview in a couple of segments.
Okay.
So why don't we just, you hold that thought, we're going to come back and we're actually going to look at the products, and you explain to us a little bit the different products.
Okay.
And then I want to do definitely one with your new product, because I think that looks really good, the one that you were showing me before.
Okay.
So we're going to come back, guys. We're going to run out of time right now, but we're going to come back with John, and believe me, this is just only going to get a little more interesting as we go along. We're going to take a look at the actual products, and we're going to take at a new launch that they're having. As a matter of fact, you're just beginning to ship out.
Correct.
Like today as we speak.
2 days ago.
Excellent. So we'll come back at you shortly. This is Jose from Inside Pro Cycling TV with John, and we're going to be talking some more about the iBike, because I promise you this is going to get interesting.